Alrighty, and we've started. We're here. This is it. This is now the beginning of the podcast. Welcome. Now we're officially podcasters.
Amazing.
Have you done a podcast before?
I've done, I think podcast formats, but I think this is like, you have cool graphics and like guest things, and I feel like this is very like official to
Okay.
me. So I think we can just say it's the first.
You know what? I appreciate that. I don't feel official as of late. This is
Oh,
actually me podcast getting super hard back into it because I was actually laid off 3 weeks ago
oh,
from my corporate job, and I'm like, you know what? I have so many interviews I've been wanting to do.
yeah.
Anytime I can feel official in my lazy boy layoff era is amazing.
Okay, well, we are officially podcasting then.
All right, there it is. Thanks so much for hopping on with me and letting me pick your brain. I have a lot to ask you here. I first saw you perform, must have been 3-ish years ago. It was Peter Pan. It was, which I believe you doing more than one role that night?
I might have been. Honestly, if you asked me about like a few months ago, I'm like, I don't know where I was. So 3 years ago, I've done that production twice. So I think the last time I know I danced multiple roles. I don't know if I did them in the same night, but maybe I did.
I think you were playing like an old man that night.
Oh, that's something I play every day these days.
Okay, all right.
Yes, I was cast as the father, like the dad,
Yes.
and I also think I did the mermaid.
Okay. Oh my God. Okay. Well, I missed that.
Yes.
Amazing. I mean, it was amazing. I'm newer to. I love going to theater. I love going to ballet. I love performance in general. But I my partner now of 3.5 years. She grew up doing ballet and has really kind of been like, she'll kind of be the voice in my ear, like, hey, that's really fucking hard what he just did right there.
Yeah.
And so it's I've gained such a newfound appreciation for it. And full disclosure, I'm going to be the person that interviews you that probably knows the least about what you actually do, which for me feels like a great place to start.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, that night you were just amazing. I mean, I cried. Like was at the end of that production, I was like crying. It was amazing. And you really stuck out to me. Like I was just like, I have to find out everything about this person. And come to find out, you are not only a tremendous performer, but you're very decorated now. And I'd love to start there. I know relatively recently you became the principal performer, and this was something I know you were working towards for a while. You know, how was it to finally reach this goal? And what do you think maybe had to not change, but what milestone did you hit in order for that to finally happen?
Yes, well, I appreciate the recognition. Thank you. Yeah, so in March of 2025, so we're nearing almost a year since the promotion, I was promoted on stage to principal, and I'm currently in my 15th season with the company. And I joined the company when I was 18, and I think, at least for me, when I joined, I was like, I did it, I made it, and I think that I really had no sense of the work that really was ahead of me in order to progress through the company. I don't know. I think I just was a little bit naive to the work and to the sort of structure of things. And I went along with it. I took the roles that I did, and in 2016 I was promoted to demi soloist. And I think that was the first time that I was like, oh, I have some sort of trajectory. The idea of becoming a principal never really crossed my mind. I just, I think lack of visibility really honestly was played a key in that, in thinking, oh, I don't see that, so how can I become that? And then with the promotion in 2016, it sort of was like, oh, okay, we're cracking the door open. And so I sort of started to reshift how I worked in the studio. I started to refocus. But really, I think the big thing was in 2024, so 2 years prior to or a year prior to the promotion, I broke my foot and I had surgery on it. And that was a real wake up call of like having to not only get my body back physically, but sort of mentally. You know, the life expectancy of a dancer is not, you know, we're not doing this until we're
Sure.
in a walker. You know, we're it feels like we're in a walker at like 35. So I sort of had to just be like, well, what do I want? And when I got injured, I was a first soloist, and I sort of was like, it's now or never, you know, like it was, I really have to go for broke for this. And so I really hunkered down, and I really was like, I'm going to make this happen. I have to make this happen. This is my goal. I don't know how many years it will take. I don't know how many months. I don't know. But I want to be a principal in this company. And it happened in the least expecting of nights. You know, I stepped into a role that I wasn't cast in. I learned it 2 days before, and I performed it. And I just was so focused on getting the steps right that when my director walked out and promoted me on stage, I was like, I really wish you would have told me so I could have prepared, you know, some sort of grand gesture, but it felt very rewarding. And it sort of was it sort of just kind of like proved to myself that, you know, to trust myself, and the choices that I made really like led me to that moment. And so now it's, I will say I'm in sort of like a transition period of, I had this goal of becoming a principal, motivating like almost everything that I did for the past few years, and all the thoughts and choices. And you remove that and you sort of have to find motivation and inspiration in a new way.
Yeah, where's the goalpost now, right? Yeah.
Yeah, where's the goalpost now? And so it's sort of shifting that around, but I'm really excited for, you know, that adventure and that part of my career. And yeah, it feels really good to say I'm a principal.
I mean, have you been doing this since you were like a child? When did you know, yeah. I mean, I'm sure, right? It's mostly usually the story. What was the inspiration? Like, when were you like, I got to do this? Like, this is absolutely for me. When did you figure that out?
Well, I mean, I was like, I'm an only child. I suffer from only child syndrome. So like,
Me
I'm like,
too.
yeah, like I'm like, give me all the attention. I want it all. I need it all. And so like, I had a knack for, you know, performance and all that jazz. And I just, you know, when you're young, you don't really correlate like your interests into passion. It's like, especially both my parents were college professors, and so like education was just, you know, college was the natural progression. But I remember my parents, they took me to go see Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater, and that was sort of the first time that I saw people up on stage doing things that I wanted to do, or that resonated with me, but also that looked like me. And I was like, oh, I'm allowed to do that. And so that performance really was like, it was a permission slip in the sense of like, it didn't necessarily give me the answers of how to become a dancer, but it was like, well, how do I get there? And oh, okay, you have to audition. What's an audition? It's a ballet class. Oh, I have to do ballet to get into this type of company. Okay, well then I have to take classes. I have to get better. I have to increase the amount of dancing. And so it really just started the wheels of what I have to do. And, you know, along the way, I sort of discovered more of a passion for classical ballet. Alvin Ailey is a more modern dance company. I do think that, like, as young Black dancers, your teachers sort of push you to try out for Alvin Ailey, not necessarily because that's like the only place they think you belong. It's more so just look at the success rate. There's a bunch of dancers of color there. Why don't you go there? But in a way, it sort of limits your ability to explore different styles of dance. And I just was more so interested in classical ballet. And so that led me to Performing Arts High School, which led me to Houston Ballet Summer Intensive in 2009. And then I joined, based off of an offer for their second company. I joined in 2009, and I joined the company in 2011.
Did you go to PVA?
No, I went to a performing arts high school called Walnut Hill School for the Arts.
Okay. All right. I was like, I know all of my friends were PVA kids, like in high school, and I'm
Oh,
like,
really?
yeah, yeah. So I was like, oh my god, if you went to PVA,
No.
I may be getting ahead of myself, but you talked about the goalpost moving. I mean, you being a small, kid and seeing people that look like you on stage to directly inspire you to kind of snowball into this being your career. Do you
Hmm.
maybe see that being a potential kind of goalpost for you to kind of further that and do that for young kids as well by seeing you on stage?
Yeah, I mean, I think like the power of visibility is a huge reason I became a dancer, and I think that I valued it. Like I saw dancers like Albert Evans, strut down the stage in Ulysses Dove's Red Angels, and like that's imprinted in my head, and I'm like, what? You can like strut down and be like, so powerful, but like call yourself a ballet dancer, and people like Lauren Anderson. I hadn't, discovered her until I came to Houston, and to understand that she was a dancer in Houston Ballet and the first black principal of a major ballet company, and I was in the same dance studios as her. Like that was eye-opening to me. But I think that the goal or my motivation has never really been for other people. I think that if it impacts other people and resonates with them, what an amazing privilege to have and result. But I think that like it's always been to advocate for myself and to do the work for myself and show up for myself. And if I show up for myself and that inspires other people to do so, I think that then that makes me want to show up
Sure.
even more. And I think that I do understand that there's a responsibility, you know, that comes with putting yourself out there, not just as a performer or an artist, but also as someone on social media. Whether it's intended or not, intentional or not, I think that when you have eyes on you, there is sort of a responsibility. But I think what removes the pressure of that responsibility for me is to be consistent with my work. And nerves and anxiety over performances is normal, but any sort of pressure that comes with it is sort of lessened when I take it into the studio and put in the work. And so yeah, I think moving the goalpost is a little bit about just going back to the work. And if I continue to show up for myself, I think that, and I hope that new things will arise for me to be motivated about.
Amazing. Amazing. In preparing for this conversation with you, I happened to also be watching the Olympics.
Right.
What a week,
Yeah.
what a 2 weeks, and I couldn't help but one of the questions I wanted to ask you that
Hmm.
directly tied into what I was watching was, just the kind of traditionality, of what you do, and the boundaries that have been pushed even just recently, and watching someone like, for instance, like Alyssa Liu, right, win the gold and be kind of break a lot of barriers and do it her way and look her way and come back on her terms. I couldn't help but want to ask you about that and feel if there were any sort of parallels for you, or really more generally, where you felt maybe you're trying to push what you do. And the second question is, where do you think that there's still maybe progress to be made there?
Oh, sure. I mean, it's a really beautiful thing, an inspiring thing to watch someone who is really just out there doing it for themselves, and how when you remove sort of like I was saying, I guess, the pressure of doing it for other people, and when you remove that and you do it for yourself, and look at the success that she had, and you could just see the freedom in her
I
movement.
know.
And it was so funny because we're about to open a show this Thursday, and the role I'm dancing, it starts with a solo on stage, and I was in the wings, and I was like, Alyssa Liu, like,
Channeling her.
yeah, like remove that pressure and like do it for yourself, do it for the kid who like wanted to dance. And I think that like it's nice to know that when you're going out on stage, you're not going out for a panel of judges and you're not going out for scores, and so that sort of removes it. And I but I that also makes me commend her even more, that she's being critiqued based
Yeah.
off of others' performances, and she still is like up there, like just doing it for herself.
Yeah, I think Johnny Weir said like it takes a tremendous amount of skill to make what she's doing look so effortless. And I was
Totally.
like, oh, he put it in such a poignant, like I couldn't put it better, because it's it's one of those things. They say this about editing, which I do a tremendous amount of. If it's done well, you don't really notice it. You're not supposed to notice it.
Right.
And she is doing it so effortlessly that it almost looks like she's just kind of playing,
Yeah.
like, and I think that's so much harder than people understand, and it kind of blew my mind watching it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that there's a freedom that comes from when you have done the work and you trust your technique and you trust your capabilities, and then you're stepping out there and you're just sort of relishing in the work. And I also think that on the flip side, if you watch Ilya and the Quad God and sort of the result that happened there, that you could be as technically skilled as you can, but there's this mental component that always also comes into it, and you forget that he's so young too, and at such a like world stage with so many eyes. And I find this is now the second time that I've danced this ballet that I was in the wings saying Alyssa Liu for, and I have such a newfound confidence and calmness before I go out on stage, and trust in my work that I wish I could have shaken the last time I did it. But it's allowed me to discover so much more about this character and dive deeper into the role. And it's one of those things where, like, when you're young and you hear these like old people being like, trust the process, and you're like, no, 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 like I want to do 100 turns and I want to do like the highest jumps as possible. And then you get to be this age and you're like, oh, I sort of understand this. And so like I value the process, and I value the peaks and valleys of this. And I understand I understand what it means to sort of have mental and physical strength when it comes to this.
Sure. Yeah, and I do want to get to and what's the correct show? Do I say, when I refer to this, do I say ballet? Do I say this ballet that you're performing, this show, this perform?
Yeah.
What? Okay, all of the above. I don't know. I don't want to be disrespectful. Where I
No,
see
it's all of the above.
Sylvia, correct? Was initially composed in in the 1870s.
Yeah.
And I think kind of waned in popularity, just to catch up people who are listening, and follows a woman being kind of in the position of a warrior, a huntress, before essentially being reclaimed in recent years, which I think is so powerful in itself. But in the world that we're currently living in, in this fascist world filled with bigotry, and it's a really weird, ugly time.
Yeah.
What does it feel like, or what is the meaning, and how does it feel to perform in this production that was at one point radical? It was considered radical, and now maybe to some may still be. What is the importance of that to you?
Well, I mean, I think that storytelling is huge, and I think that it's really important. And I think that, as far as visibility, when it comes to people doing well and like individuals succeeding, I think that the visibility of telling stories that show success in different light, that it's not a man always succeeding, and that these women can have autonomy, they can have agency, they can be the leaders, they can be in control of their lives, and they can find love, and they can choose to not have it if they don't want it. And but understand that these are stories that live in the space of the theater, and you as an audience member step into that moment in time, and you take from it what you want, and you can lose yourself in the story, and then maybe it's thought-provoking, or you think about things a different way. I think that it's really important to have those stories, and to showcase them in such a beautiful way. And I think that sometimes you or we as a society are overwhelmed with the news of like of textual news of words of you see these stats, you see these things that
Hmm.
sort of become overwhelming, and then when you see these headlines that are repetitive, and it's like you just sort of tune it out, or at least I've been victim of that, where it's like, oh, another one, oh, here we go, and it's just like you sort of become numb to it. I think that the beauty of having art, and not just ballet, but art in general, to go to and to see it in a different way, and to interpret things in that way, I think is really important. And so I'm excited to be a part of a company that tells those stories and to tell these stories, but also chooses people who look like me and love like me to tell these stories.
Hmm.
And I think that it's a really powerful thing. The cast that I'm in has three Black men who are leading it. Um, the principal cast has, a Venezuelan principal. We have, dancers of all colors. So it's reflective of the world we live in, which I think is really important as well. And so people who were like me, who saw Alvin Ailey and said, maybe I can try. I hope that there's girls in the audience who are watching this and are like, I can try too. And after Sylvia, we have a beautiful Houston premiere of the ballet that's about Frida Kahlo. And
Oh,
it's just incredible. And speaking of art, like, so to have these stories hit the stage right now, one, it speaks to the timelessness of the actual work, but also I think it speaks to just what our company is trying to say and do, and I think it's really important for the world we live in right
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I'm thrilled to see it. We are going to go see it. I can't wait to feel all the feels and
now.
be very proud of you and what we're watching. And I'm already very proud of like what you continue to do for you, your community, for this city, and for this world
Thank you.
ultimately.
Thank you.
I don't know if you can tell. I'm a pro wrestling fan.
Okay.
I watch a lot of wrestling,
Okay.
and sometimes I can't help but see the parallels in pro wrestling and in dance.
Okay.
And I know that's crazy. Like, call me a crazy person, but and granted, two different sets of skills here. And but I think you'd make a really good wrestler.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I
Wow.
think you'd be sick at it. I
I
think
remember I remember watching wrestling when I was a kid. Did it have its own channel or was it just
oh, it
on?
was just on all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember like really at first believing it was
Of
like
course.
really real
Yeah.
and being terrified.
Wait, it's not? It's not?
Yeah.
No,
Like I
no.
remember like I'm gonna get their names wrong, but there's like the big muscle like manager guy who's like the boss. I don't
I
know.
mean, Vince McMahon, Mr.
Yeah.
McMahon. Yeah, yeah. Who's a terrible human being, by the way. Oh, it's
Oh,
just
okay.
just an awful.
Well, he played it. He then he
Yeah,
didn't have to play
he did not.
Gerard's wife.
His wife is
Hmm.
actually in Trump's cabinet. She's literally
Sure.
the Secretary of Education.
Sure.
Like
Okay.
real deal. Like it's wild. So basically, our administration is it's pro wrestling.
Yes.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
I will say, I don't know if this is the podcast forum for it, but I have ties to Fox News as well, which some might, find very shocking. But
I was aware, and
yes.
I wasn't. I mean, I did ask you before we started. Is there anything I shouldn't bring up? And you brought that up.
I
So
did, it's a little bit like, I don't know. It's a little bit like, I don't know if I want to like say it or not, but it's out there. And then it's like,
sure.
it is what it is.
Does this happen like family reunions and stuff? Like, do you see this
I will
person?
say that we don't. My schedule keeps me very locked here,
Okay.
and it's been a minute since I've seen him in person. I have seen him on the screens. I've seen clips, many a shared.
Sure.
And actually, this is a really funny story. Saturday, so a couple of days ago, we have our annual ballet ball,
I
which is
saw.
like
Yeah.
it's like a big fundraising, like black tie event, and the dancers of a certain rank. So like if you're a soloist and above, you get to go and you're seated at the tables. And, you know, like when the dancers are walking around, it's like these people love the dancers. They love to interact with us, and we love seeing them and you know, being face to face with them. And a lot of times they're very celebratory of our, you know, performances, saying, we loved you in this and we can't wait to see you do this. And so like we're having these like amazing conversations. And this one woman, and she stops me and she goes, Harper, you just must be so excited. You just must be so happy. And I was like ready. I thought she was going to talk about Sylvia. And she goes, you just must be so happy. Jesse Waters is your cousin. And I said, oh my gosh. And she kind of caught me off guard. And she was like, I mean, oh my God, you just must be so proud. And I said, I am very excited for Sylvia, which opens Thursday. Cannot wait for you to see it. But, you know, you just kind of got to roll with it.
Hey, we all have that weird uncle or cousin in this case, right? That we talk about. They're there, you know, still family, I guess. It is very interesting though, the different sides of the coins that you seemingly both are very representative of at this moment in time. And but it is what it is. Like I said, I wasn't going to bring that up, but
Sure.
I'm happy to hear that story, you know.
Well, it's also something that, like, I mean, I hope. Well, so like I think it was maybe a couple Halloweens ago. Me and my friends, we all were the fembots from Austin Powers, and I mean in full blonde wigs, you know, full.
The bullet, you had the bullet nipples and stuff.
We went there, and when we were walking I forget where we were walking, but I saw it was during the election year, and there was a Trump sign, and I took a picture next to a Trump sign in full drag. And I posted that thinking that it was going to be really funny. And I got a lot of messages that were like, how dare you vote for Trump? And I thought that it was very indicative of who I was and what I represent and, you know, how I carry myself, that I just would not be aligned with him whatsoever. So, you know, as I share these stories, I will say that I am vastly far from my cousin's political views. I don't share them whatsoever. I think if anything, I'm very proud of what my dad has done. He's a senator of New Hampshire, and I share in his political views and also morals.
Amazing. You know, I always have to ask my guest, is there any and I say this lovingly, is there any trash television that you're really, really into?
Oh, well, there's a lot of television that I think many would consider trash, but I consider it to be.
That's why I said loving, because like this is what I ingest all of the time.
Or
However, you know, I understand how a lot of people feel, but yeah, that's why I was like, I say this lovingly because I probably am going to love what you say, but
Okay.
I have to make the attempt to connect with you on it.
Yes, so I feel like my religion is Real Housewives.
Okay.
I do think that RuPaul's Drag Race is also responsible for half of my vernacular growing up. So those two would be really big. I was a big Wendy Williams watcher. Her talk show was what I looked forward to a lot in the day when it was on. Recently, I'm a big Love is Blind fan.
Oh yeah.
And I've even gone to the point of watching it with a blanket over the screen, so I'm in the pods too.
Yeah, this is actually how I initially connected with you, because I saw you post about that, a blanket over your TV, and I was like, this is insane.
No, it's
Like,
insane.
Like that's actually crazy. So wait a minute, what is that? I don't like. First of all, how do you know who's talking to who when they cut to another scene?
I don't.
So you just have you just have to.
The thing is, I found myself the hardest part was actually sitting there not seeing anything, but also not doing anything, like being on your phone or like cleaning, because you actually have to like
You have to
pay
pay attention. Yeah.
And so I actually started a journal, and I would like write down little things.
Oh, you have your own pod journal.
I do. And the thing is, like, when they walk into the rooms, they actually say, is this Casey or is this so and so? So I could queue up with that. But oh my gosh, it really makes it that much more like enjoyable to watch. I
But you,
did get I
when they
did get
meet
a
each other, do you take it off or
yeah,
like
yes. The reveal is the taking it
that's
off.
off? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Are you caught up?
Yes.
Did you see? We just watched last night the scene at the bar with
Yes.
the guy and the three.
Sure.
Whew, man, that was rough. That was
You know, I sort of, you know, when I watch these like reality TV shows, I think I'm so much of a fan that I understand. Like I look at the like threads and like the tweets and sort of the like articles about the show, and so I understand that there's like the production and producing of it, and I still am eager to consume it. But when watching it, I was like, whoever, I forget his name, the guy who said, who that scene was about, who he said he wants his woman to do like
yeah,
Pilates.
yeah, yeah.
He must have an incredible producer who made him feel so comfortable to
Right.
talk and like so chill.
He was hammered too.
To feel,
They're all
yes, to
hammered.
just feel so willing to say that and know that, or just delusional. I don't know, but like I just was like, bravo to your producer because he really got that out of him.
He's like, this will go over well. This will be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm four, vodka sodas in, and like I've. So my only Housewives intro is the Traders.
Okay. Yes.
That's the only time I've ever met any of these characters, and they come with a reputation.
They do. And I think what's interesting about housewives, you know, going on to these shows is that they actually can have like a completely different narrative and you can see them in a different way. Case in point, I feel like, I believe it was Trader season 2 with Phaedra. And she had, I mean, I think it was the reason like it won the Emmy. It was an incredible season. She was brilliant on it, such a scene stealer. But she had a horrible ending to her time on Housewives that got her fired. And so it's interesting seeing the women and their personalities, like when you remove the Housewives bubble and put them with all these other personalities.
God, I would love like there was that Cowboys cheerleaders show.
Yes.
I want that, but for you guys.
Well, the thing is, like, the dance world, like, they're too smart. They'd never
They're not showing their cards.
put in there. Like, I mean, I think that the DCC, the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, they sort of understood that. Like, I think when you have this little bubble and you sort of believe everything that you preach into that space, then when you bring cameras in and you're so confident about it and then you open it up to the public forum, all of a sudden you're scrutinized for things that you just didn't even like
Sure.
think about. And I think that the ballet world is a little bit of the same, and just the principles and sort of practices are a little bit maybe antiquated at times, that I think that it's better to be safe and just keep it that way than sort of risk the potential. I mean, exposure is great, you know, in certain ways, but I don't think that there's a need for that risk.
I will be pitching it. I will be bringing it to the office, and we'll see how it goes. Regardless,
Yes, I had a YouTube show for a really long time that was called The Pre-Show before I started like actually like dancing a lot more, and I had envisioned it turning into some sort of dance reality show, kind of like Vanderpump Rules. I was a big Vanderpump type follower. Yeah, I would love that. You know, I think that the dance world needs it. And now I'm at the point where I'd say whatever. So
clearly, I mean, here we are. I'm going to let you go soon. I'd like to know what. It might be a general question, but what are you other than the upcoming performance in the show? I mean, what are you excited about? Like, what's really getting you excited right now?
You know, I don't know if this is exciting necessarily, like in the traditional way, but we were talking about my promotion and sort of now that I've achieved it, it's like, what's next? I think what's exciting me a little bit is being motivated by this sort of call it fear, call it anticipation of sort of having to now figure out when this is all done, what do I do, and what does that look like, and where do I sashay into next, and understanding that it's like when this career as a dancer is over, I can't just really snap my fingers and have an opportunity. It has to start from something now. And so figuring out what that looks like, if it's, more content creation, is it in this public speaking? Is it, I'm not the biggest fan of teaching, I enjoy it, but I don't think that my natural interests lie in continuing being fully in the dance world. But I think sort of figuring out that and my passions right now is what is exciting me, and sort of restarting the hustle of making connections and pushing myself into new spaces in a way that I can, when it does feel right for me to say, thank you so much, it's been fun, it's time for me to step away from this, that I feel really confident in doing it, instead of, holy shit, like, what do I do now?
What's next? Yeah.
And so I'm trying to write more, I'm trying to read more, I'm trying to be more social and get out and do things. And this was really exciting to do, because I think that, like, I just don't think I would have done this a few years ago. But connecting with new people and new platforms, and trying to reach new audiences and have people hear me and see me, I think is what is exciting for me right now.
I love that. One final question. What do you wish that people knew more about what you spend your time doing at the Houston Ballet? What do you wish that folks who watched it, other than, like, it's tremendously hard and you guys make it look extremely easy, what do you wish that people really understood that perhaps they don't?
I think we're one of the only physical art forms, that is a year-round thing. Our contract is 43 weeks. There's no off season for us. There's not this, like, season of dance. It is a full-time job. We are doing this 5 days a week for 43 weeks. And we're touring the world, we're putting on performances, and the motivation for this is the joy of dance. It is the joy of making art. And I think that there are people who have professions that are really passionate about what they do, but my God, a 6-figure salary feels really lovely along with it. And this is a profession that is really driven by the joy of what we do, and sacrificing a lot of our time, a lot of our relationships, a lot of our mental space to be the artist and best artist that we can be in a field that isn't as celebrated mainstream as others are. And I think that there are other professions that can probably relate to that of being a dancer. And so I encourage people to support the arts, to explore the arts, to learn more about it, but also to learn about, like, other things and new things, because I think that those people and those who are really just motivated by the joy of what they do is a really special thing to experience it's a really special thing to experience, and we're doing it a lot. And I think that's what I would want people to know.
I do want to say that's the same answer that a pro wrestler would give.
Great.
I just want to say they tour year round. It's a year round thing. A lot of times it ends up a little thankless. Not everyone, the people at the top, there's not a lot of room there.
Yeah.
But if you ever need a career in pro wrestling, maybe this is your pivot after this, as you've decided to go for the AEW World Championship.
Yeah, I don't know. I know it is, like, not real, but, like, it still looks very physical.
No, we don't say it's not real. We say it's scripted.
Sure.
Because it's real. You do fall hard. It hurts, but it's scripted. So I'm not correcting you. The general
public. The theatrics of it, I'm really obsessed, and it's the one when the lights go off and then he shows up in, like, the in the ring when the lights come back on.
Oh yeah, like the Undertaker and stuff. Yeah.
That is so drag. That is
Oh,
so.
no, yeah. Pro wrestling is drag. I mean, I've had this conversation where I also watch a lot of Drag Race, and I tell this to people when I've had people ask me like, "What are you doing? Like, you're like you're like a cis straight man. Like, why do you enjoy Drag Race?" I'm like, dude, it's wrestling and drag are the exact same thing. Like, they are exactly the same. It's
Yeah.
amazing. They dress up. They have crazy characters. There's feuds. It ends in a match.
Yeah.
But like, it's the same thing. In fact, my
So
pitch for a long time is to have a show where it's both. Like, I got a name for it. It's going to be called Draw, the Drag Wrestling Association of Wrestling. It's all there. The pitch is there. So this entire call was just
To
to
pitch.
ask you to be my first, one day. I'm just kidding. But I do maintain you'd be fantastic at it. Harper, thanks so much for coming on and talking with me. I know I'm stupid and silly and know nothing about what
it's
you
been so
do,
fun.
but you are fantastic. You are just so infinitely skilled. I'm so thrilled to watch you in a couple of weeks here and just to watch you for the rest of your career and what you decide to do and where you go. And I know I speak for everyone, the city of Houston, and for, everyone that just watches you and is inspired by you and saying that we love you. We think you're awesome. And you're just such a gem, and you're such a nice person too. It's been awesome connecting with you.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Of course. We're gonna end this and I'll do my like and subscribe bullshit to everyone. Hang on just for a little bit and then we'll say bye. But thanks again, and I hope to see you soon.
You will.
Awesome.